Hi, everyone. Welcome to our August Kitchen EDU webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We're here. This is one of our Ask the Operator webinars. So we're joined by Reagan from The Cause and Scott from Findlay Market. If this is your first time on one of our webinars, these are hosted by the Food Corridor. Who's the Food Corridor? We are a management software platform for shared kitchens. We help operators streamline and automate the day-to-day of running a kitchen. Self-booking for your renters, effortless billing, so we automate the billing process so there's no more tracking down payments, and we help with onboarding and compliance to make sure that everybody working in your kitchen is doing it in a safe way and you have an organized way to keep track of all of your documents and your food members, documents and certifications and insurance and whatnot. And the health departments really love that. We also run the kitchen door. This is our sister website where kitchens can list their kitchen space for free to find renters. And last year we merged the kitchen door and the food corridor into a leads manager free account. So now all of your leads that come through the kitchen door can be easily managed right in one space so you can see who is coming in and respond to them faster to get them into your kitchen cooking and make sure that they have, again, everything they need to do so in a safe and legal way. We have an education arm of our company as well called Kitchen EDU. This is the arm of the company that produces these free webinar series, as well as our educational tools like our shared kitchen toolkit, our Prep and Prosper workbook, the operator's manual. We collect survey on a nationwide level of shared kitchens and food businesses working in shared kitchens. We have a community of practice on Facebook called the NIC, the Network for Incubator and Commissary Kitchens. If you're not in the NIC and you're on Facebook, join the NIC. There's lots of great conversations happening, knowledge sharing, connections. It's a great way to crowdsource ideas and challenges from the community as a whole. And if you're not getting our newsletter, sign up for a monthly newsletter. It's packed with lots of events that coming up in the industry, tools and learnings, our webinar recordings, as well as information about our upcoming Shared Kitchen Summit. We host an annual summit. This year, we're going to Providence in October. It's 3 days of learning from the experts, hearing the stories about what's happening in the field, intentional networking opportunities after the summit sessions, including our Golden Whisk Awards. Will be our third annual Golden Whisk Awards, celebrating everything you all are doing. So we currently have nominations open. They close Friday. So nominate yourself, nominate your kitchen, nominate somebody that you admire, and let's celebrate them all together. So some things we have coming up. Next month's EDU free webinar is all about space utilization, how to measure, map, and improve your kitchen's performance. I'll send out the registration link to that and my follow-up email with this recording, as well as our form for the Golden Whisk nominations. And then if you are planning to come to our summit, tickets will increase by $200 on September 28th. It's a couple of weeks out from the summit, October 12th. So get your tickets now. Don't wait till the last minute. But you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to these two and learn from the operators in the field doing the work. There's an inland hurricane currently hitting Scott right now, so he may not hear me. Reagan, maybe you want to start.
Hi, everyone. I am not having a hurricane in sunny Arizona, just our normal heat wave. I love that they always say that excessive heat warning when it's been enough excessive heat warning for ever here. But anyways, I am located in rural Arizona, on the Colorado River. We're about 3 hours outside of Phoenix, 2.5 hours to Las Vegas, our two largest cities. Our community is about 60,000 people. So, it's unique in how my shared kitchen started. I didn't develop it out of the thought of a shared kitchen. I operated a restaurant out of there for 12 years. It does have a drive-through. And after I was done with the franchise world, I had this building and shared kitchens were just coming about in 2019. shared space actually. So I literally Googled shared kitchen and this whole world opened up. I'm the only licensed commissary in our county, even though our health department rules say if you are a restaurant or have a health permit, you can sign off as a commissary. So we battle that every day with some of our local restaurants. As far as hourly members go, we do have anchor, I call them anchor members. One's a coffee shop. They operate out of there 7 days a week, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. They utilize the drive through. Because we were a restaurant, our space is not just kitchen space. We do have an area where, a large area where customers come in, they order their coffee, they sit and talk, a lot of more of a community space where people come and go throughout the day. So we have our anchor. She started as a food truck, went into our drive-through. She's now built a freestanding restaurant, and she's working on building her third freestanding coffee shop in one of our sister communities. She is my bread and butter, I call her. So we do everything we can to make her as happy as possible and her crew. But on top of that, then she understands it's a shared space that's let her be able to grow at the way she has been growing. So other members come in. We have a sushi restaurant that operates out of there. We did have a baker's over the years. Our cottage law changed in Arizona a couple of years ago to where you can now cook anything from home, other than seafood, but they don't even have the capacity to monitor that. That really limited our space or our members as far as speakers. So something I started right after I started the shared kitchen, because I realized, well, you have the bakers coming in or you have caterers, and then how do they get to their customer? Their mom have kids at home and they bake these amazing cookies, but then they don't have the time to reach their customer. So we started a farmer's market in our space. It's very small, not a city farmer's market, and we're in the middle of the desert where nothing grows. So a lot of people thought I was very crazy, and most days I still think I am very crazy for starting a farmer's market. But that's really kept the wheel turning when our hourly members drop off. Not a lot of our food trucks don't operate in the summer, just they can't because of the heat. It gets up to 150 in a food truck. We have to have other ways to keep the revenue. So the farmer's market pays the kitchen venue space. So I have a flat fee. So every farmer's market, they're paying to keep the building because anywhere else they would have the market, there would be venue space. If it was in a park or something like that, they would still need to have bathrooms and water for hand sinks and such. So the farmer's market is weekly. We started it once a month. Then when the pandemic hit, it went to twice a month, and now we have it every week. We're going into our year and a half of it every week. Twice a year, we do a youth market as well. That is a huge revenue piece for us as well. It's a ton of work, but we have about 50 vendors. Youth vendors is our capacity. So they set up and sell everything you can imagine that these kids come up with. And then we have a night market 7 to 8 times a year, depending on how it falls in the years. And that's in partnership with First Friday, which is held in our downtown area. So to have all of those events, I created a nonprofit, which is pretty much more of my job anymore than the shared kitchen. Just because there's so many rules with nonprofits and bookkeeping and board meetings and things like that. But everything falls for the event under the nonprofit. We are able to get sponsorship. We also in Arizona, you're able to get special event liquor license. So we do a bar 10 times a year, and it's the max, but you can do it in Arizona as a nonprofit. So all that income goes back to us as well in our partnership with the nonprofit. We also have 3 spots where food trucks can park. They pay a flat rate to be parked there. So there's an outdoor courtyard seating area. We are working on maybe the property getting a liquor license. So the different restaurants and members that operate out of there would be able to sell alcohol when they're open. But It's tricky because liquor law was created way before shared space was created, so they don't expect real life. So working through the hoops on how everybody would be able to sell liquor through their business, and then they just give them more skin in the game to stay and not go to one of my competitors because then they would be getting revenue as well off of selling beer or wine. We had a side room, for lack of better word, over the years. It's been a bar, it's been a conference room, it's been a bakery. We just remodeled last August and we changed that as an extension of the kitchen. Retail, we were brainstorming yesterday, and one of my failures was putting retail in that space. It did not work. So I just made it an extension of the kitchen, added a 3-pump sink, put it in an oven that didn't require a hood. Everything's in there for prepping or packaging goods. We have one member. She started at the farmer's market and she has done so well. She's now getting her jam tested so that she can do packaging and sell out kind of state line commercial. So that's another benefit of having the farmers market is you have people that join and then they go, oh, I can't bake all this sourdough bread in my home kitchen anymore. And then you get more members. So all of the events. And then in that room as well, we do small parties, cooking classes, meetings, and then just even anyone that can come in the space. We now have a lady teaching voice lessons in that side room as well. So, got its own door so she can shut off. So I try and bring in the art as much as possible because we do have culinary art, but some of the other arts as well. People have asked if they could use that room as a studio or anything. So I say, yes, if you want to pay me to use this room, it is all yours. You just have to let me know when you're in here so I can coordinate. We had a nonprofit do a boot camp in there, and they had funding to teach serve space for free. So that was a great exposure for the kitchen and to partnership with the nonprofit. I think that's everything on my list.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And Reagan, real quick, how by what percentage would you say adding all of these additional revenue streams increased your overall revenue in addition to like just your hourly rentals?
I don't know, increase because I really started it all about the same time, but the event or just keeping that going, I would say it's about 50% of my income is the event.
The events. Awesome. Thank you. Are you there, Scott? Can you hear us?
On me.
Yay. Yes. Okay, this
Uh,
sounds much better.
I can hear you. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna talk. I don't think my video will work. I just got where there's a tornado in the area. So I'm gonna hang on here. I did have a little presentation I was gonna share, which I can share with you later, Tyler. You want
Okay,
to just everybody
definitely.
do it, and I'll see how much I can convey.
Stay
Uh,
safe.
yeah. So yeah, I'm Scott with Finley Kitchen. Been with Finley Kitchen for about 7.5 years. Working with programs and growing programs. Finley Kitchen itself, we are a 8,000 square foot facility, 60 plus active members, 80% or more represent historically marginalized groups. 45 plus members are women owned businesses. 14 commercial kitchen spaces in our building, including 6 pod kitchens, which, as we talk about like revenue generating, we have 6 kitchens that are leased on a yearly basis to one business, which helps us get income consistently throughout the year. Big thing we wanted to talk about was our mobile pop up program. We own 2 mobile kitchen licenses. These are pop up tents with equipment that we have a deal with our local health department to where we can get sub licenses for our members to take our mobile license out and pop up really anywhere in the state of Ohio. We have a huge benefit that we are connected to Finley Market, has about 15,000 visitors every weekend. We're like one of the biggest tourist destinations in Cincinnati. So our mobile pop ups can pop up at our market and get in front of a lot of eyes. Those mobile pop-ups come with everything you need. Floor covering, tent, hand sinks, equipment. We have griddles, grills, steam tables. We teach a lot of classes as well about how to use our mobile kitchen like wisely. Our members can rent those mobile kitchens for $50 a day, which is going to lower their startup costs rather than getting their own. Finley Kitchen, sorry, tornado is crazy. So in the past year, our mobile kitchens have been rented over 70 times by 15 different businesses. That has generated about $3,500. I believe that was in the calendar year of 2025. This year, we've seen a huge ramp up. We have probably 20 businesses that are using them. They are rented every Saturday and Sunday, and then externally for other events as well. They allow any of our members to basically get proof of concept without spending all their money on building out their own or renting out actual leased space. Along with our mobile kitchens, we partner with the city of Cincinnati, with the Chamber of Commerce, with different events throughout the city. So we have an Asian Food Fest. We have an Oktoberfest that is, I believe, the largest outside of Munich, Germany, and then Taste of Cincinnati. Taste of Cincinnati is a huge revenue generator for us. We partner with them in planning and getting vendors ready. And then we take a total of 25 different vendors out to the street to vend for 4 days. But about 500,000 people show up for Taste of Cincinnati. And if you are really ready and prepared, you can be vending basically from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. with a nonstop line. And this past year, we took 24 businesses. Our participants' total sales exceeded over $250,000. With our annual partnership with the city of Cincinnati, we got paid $15,000. We also bring out a fun development games booth. So we have an info booth about the market. We sell merch, and we also have games for kids. Having that booth at Taste of Cincinnati brought in an additional $3,000 this year. Total revenue generated from working Taste of Cincinnati itself was about $47,000. So it's a huge lift for us, the amount of work that it takes to get it off the ground, but the benefit is huge. It gets eyes on all of our vendors. We actually have a best of taste competition that we host in the kitchen as well. So any of these vendors get to get in front of a panel of judges and get awarded a best of taste. There's gold, silver, and bronze awards. Those go into a pamphlet and generate more activity towards their tent at Taste. It's huge work. There's a funny picture of me getting splashed from a splash tower in the games tent. Big program we launched and we hope to replicate more in the future is a demo kitchen at Jungle Jim's Market here in Cincinnati. Jungle Jim's is, I believe, the USA's largest grocery store. A lot of our members get products from them because they source things from all over the world. We were able to work with that grocery store and build out a demo kitchen and a CPG section. So this is actually a section in their store that has dry goods and frozen goods with a demo kitchen where our vendors can go out and sample their products. In order to set that up with a store like that, they were very concerned with having 25 different accounts payable. So they would have to be generating orders from 25 different businesses. So we basically turned ourselves into a distribution company for Finley Kitchens. And now our members have a direct line with an order guide that Jungle Gyms can order from. We fulfill that order and then we ship that directly to the store. Our members collect 93% of those sales. We take 6% of that. So it's not generating a ton of revenue, but it's getting eyes out both on our kitchen and on our members. And we make a little bit off of it. Currently with that Jungle Gyms partnership, we have 102 products offered. I've generated over $100,000 in sales. We've made 68 deliveries and 15 businesses have participated. So it's good and it's growing. We hope to open up our second one in the other jungle gym sometime this year. It will also have a demo kitchen as well, so our members can go out and sample and sell their products. Outside of that, we have really been growing our external events and external rentals. In our kitchen, we have a large, what we call a classroom kitchen. It is a teaching kitchen. We have TV monitors that we can put cameras we can link to. We've done knife skills classes with close ups of the knife and a cutting board. We've done private dining experiences where we've transformed the room into like this immaculate, beautiful room that one of our chefs can then cook out of, or an external chef. We've hosted a lot of corporate events, including some Kroger pitches. We kind of benefit as well that the Kroger headquarters is in Cincinnati. So when they are looking at new products, a company wants to come to town, pitch their product, they will rent our kitchen in front of Kroger execs and be able to taste and talk and do that demo. We also rent it out for R&D for new restaurants. These can be non-members. Someone that is ready to start a kitchen, their kitchen's not ready, they need to do R&D for their restaurant. They can do a short-term membership, which is basically just like an hourly rental, and come in and use the kitchen as they need. And then that happens a lot for external caterings as well. I think 2 times in the past month, we have had a wedding happening in Cincinnati where getting married were from another city. They had a baker from another city that wanted to produce the cake. They came and rented our kitchen for baking that cake. Same requirements as we have for other members. They have to be serve safe, manager level certified, and they have to carry liability insurance. For the events, the pricing structure can change. So we will have pricing for small businesses, so all local restaurants, and then we have other pricing structures for things like Kroger renting it out. To date this year, we will see a ramp up here kind of in the last quarter as we get into holiday season, but we've done $5,000 in revenue from those. But that's what I got here.
Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
Scott. And if you need to go take cover or to a safe space, please do that. uh, we do have a question in the chat, Scott. What is your split between members and hourly clients?
We are still probably operating like over 95% are hourly or our members. Yeah. So with 14 commercial kitchen spaces, 6 of those are our pod kitchens, which are our monthly leases. And there we would be running, I can look up the number real quick. I think it's 70% hourly users, 30% are pod kitchens. And then external rentals is a small chunk at this point, but looking to grow it.
Perfect. And then another one came in the chat. And this one for both of you. How many full-time staff do you have to run your kitchens?
For us, we have 3 that work full time at the kitchen, but we have what we call our food innovation department that handles all of our educational courses. That total team is 8.
Reagan?
Me, myself, and I. Um, we're small. The building is about 4,200 square feet. So, and we don't have that pods or anything fancy like that. But so yes, for the kitchen, it's myself in a very high tech camera system that I rely on 10 times a day. Is that so? Yes, and then but the nonprofit, we actually just hired our first part-time staff person so I can work on other projects. And she will be our market director. So she'll be the face for all of the vendors that do all of the market. And Scott reminded me too when he mentioned a percentage. We do have a retail space that we sell for our vendors and for started to be just for the kitchen members, but we've opened it up to other market items that people want to get throughout the week if they can't make it on a Saturday morning. And we keep 20% of what we sell. And I've never had any objection to that 20% because they're not having to manage. They're not it goes through our credit card processing system. So they've always just been grateful that they're getting additional sales and really not doing much any work.
Right. Another question in the chat, Reagan. How did you decide to start a nonprofit alongside what I'm assuming is your for profit kitchen? What drove that decision?
Really, it was the youth market, and we wanted to get sponsors. So it's for profit, you can. I mean, I've seen businesses do it, but it's easier to write off a sponsorship to a 501(c)(3), and then just with the mission of the nonprofit supporting entrepreneurship. We do scholarships back at the youth market. We give away $500. We have a local culinary school that's a break off of our school district, and we give them $2,500. So just having that exposure of the nonprofit and the community give back, then just bring exposure to the kitchen and what the space is all about. So when people walk in, maybe they're a little less confused on what shared space is. So yeah, that was the main one was sponsorship.
Hmm. And lots of good questions in the chat. Okay, Scott, who moves the pod kitchens around, or do you mean those pop up rooms across from Finley Market?
That is completely on the members. It's kind of a sticking point. We have basically a, a box car, like an old semi-trailer box car that we use to store all these out in the market. We help the first time. We go through like a mock setup. We test signage. We kind of coach through all that, but then it's completely on the members. When they rent those out, they get a little folder with their mobile license in it, with their setup and a key to that pod. They go out, they have to drag out the tent, tables, equipment, go set it up, clean it, and put it all back. So it's a ton of work. Before anyone starts, we take them over there and show them how much work it's going to be. It's definitely, we try to scare them away first a little bit because it's a ton of work. But yeah, the members are doing that all themselves.
Great. Have either of you considered smart vending machines to be placed out in your community?
Yes. Not specifically for the kitchen itself. Some of our members, we have an empanada company that has really been growing, and we've kind of been exploring that to put out in bars for them, but not so much for the kitchen.
Reagan, have you looked into that?
Yes, I had one in the facility for they were a baker and then they also grew microgreens and lettuce and mushroom. It's great if they can keep it stocked and the technology works. This one went off cell signal, so it didn't even have to attach to our Wi-Fi. And it was great. It was um, something definitely people were interested in. We are working on a self-checkout kiosk for our retail because right now myself, a volunteer that are open 4 days a week. And I know because the building's open for the coffee shop, people come in and they want to get eggs and honey and bread and things like that through on the days we're not there. So we'll see. Hopefully that's just not an issue and your on camera signs work and we'll see how a self-check kiosk works. Yeah.
Interesting. Reagan, are you also doing the grant writing for the nonprofit, or do you outsource that?
Oh, well, it depends on the grant. If it's a USDA grant, those are still intimidating to me that I have worked with a grant writer on that. And we do that under, it's more for aggregation and distribution of produce. It's what I've done grants on. They do have marketing ones for farmers markets come up. And yeah, if it's a USDA one, we do work with the USDA on SNAP and state program. We have two other additional state programs that go for WIC families or senior citizens that drive people to the farmers market and help with access to food for everyone. But if it's a state grant and it's not 50 pages to read on how to even apply, I've applied for those. And we did get one for about $30,000 where we provided 120 produce bags to our community for free for 10 months. And that was an adventure because I did not realize how much $2,400 a month in produce was to sort, and how much potatoes and bunches of carrots that was. But yeah, I've done both.
Scott, clarifying question. Are the pod kitchens different than the mobile kitchens?
Yes. Yeah. So our 6 pod kitchens are within the walls of the kitchen. They have their own separate hood systems. Mobile kitchens are literally just pop-up tents and equipment that we store outside.
Right. Okay, this question is for both of you. Storage, rental revenue, and structure. Cold storage, dry storage, any other creative storage options you all are using?
Yeah. So we have dry cooler and freezer storage. We also have a little bit of large equipment storage area. It's minimal and kind of a case by case basis, but we've had an ice cream producer that had a specialty ice cream machine. We've had some special like filling machines, and we kind of do it the same way we do our dry storage. We calculate square footage and see how much that's going to take. But outside of that, nothing crazy.
Reagan, what do you all offer?
Same, dry, cold, freezer, and we'll have the one-off equipment. We have a frozen fish business, and they have their vacuum sealer, hundreds of pounds. So that's dedicated to them, and they leave that there. And it just depends if they want to bring in their own fridge or freezer and then just plug it in. We charge for the power, but some of them as startup, we've been able to buy that freezer or fridge for them, and plus we have a map. They walk in and they buy the shelf. So some have freestanding and some are part of the shared area by shelf.
So, let's see here. Reagan, you mentioned something about permitting when you started your talk. Can you explain a little bit more about what you were referring to?
If you've been that we're the only licensed commissary for the county, that my kitchen's license is a commissary license. And we're the only one in the state that, or in the county that holds that license. So it was interesting to walk through the step with the health department. But now we talk 2 to 3 times a week with the health department, and it's still a trick for the fire department. Any code. Every member has their own business license. And so you get a new fire inspector and they want to come in and everything for the new business license. So I just stop them at the door and tell them a hair salon. And that's how I'm supposed to be coded in their system so that when they're renting a booth at a hair salon, they don't get a fire inspection. So that normally stops them.
Great. Okay, let's talk about fees. What kind of additional fees do you all have? This is another potentially good revenue stream for kitchens, right? So, onboarding fees, monthly membership fees. What other fee line items are you all charging your members?
So we have an annual membership fee. First year is $150. Every subsequent year is $250. We charge a $200 security deposit, and then we operate with a $160 monthly fee. That monthly fee is a credit towards hours used within that month. We do storage pricing, which is we have different storage sizes. It's all shelves, a half pallet, of whole pallet, or a baker's rack. Those prices are all different for dry cooler and freezer storage. Then we have large equipment storage fees and our hourly kitchen fees. Outside of that, any of the fees we would do would be, I think I saw another question in the chat, would be like a cleaning fee if someone doesn't clean up after themselves. We have played around with the idea of our pod kitchens being separately metered for power. We had a very large bakery just moved out of the kitchen a couple months ago who was definitely racking up our power bills, which kind of gave us that idea. We're looking at the change now that they have left to see if it make any huge difference. But outside of that, I believe those are really our only fees, rental fees for the mobile kits as well.
We have the security deposit. I love the annual membership fee. I add that one on. We have the security deposit, and I will not sign for food truck. I do not sign their commissary agreement for the health department until I collect $50. Because I have been screwed a few times on that where I signed that commissary agreement and then I never hear back from them. I will collect that 250, and then for members that use the kitchen and that's where their health department is for the facility, I'll help them with the onboarding, but if they start need a lot of hand holding with licensing, I will charge them by the hour after that. If it's somebody that really can't figure out how to get their sales tax license or city business license. But for both mobile and those permitted for the kitchen, it's the $250. And then everybody pays a portion of the cleaning fee. You have a nightly cleaning crew that comes and does all of the floors in the kitchen and in the dining area and the bathroom. And I just track their hours free on a spreadsheet to calculate their cleaning fee, just the total for the month, and then divide it out and they pay their portion. The food truck, they pay based on it. They were there for 5 hours a month, use it or lose it. The ones that are permitted for the building are pay off of it for 10 hours a month. Because I figure if you're not in the kitchen at least 10 hours a month, you're not a business. Go back to your home kitchen. So that's the base they pay use it or lose it, depending on what type they are. And then I have different tiers. That's all set up in the food corridor for those that are there a lot. And then the coffee shop and the sushi, they have consistent hours. I did put them on a flat rate just to keep things simple and not track their hours. If they come in 30 minutes early, I have more things to worry about than that. So they have consistent enough hours where they're on a flat monthly rate. If they are a member of the kitchen, they do still have to pay a vendor fee to the farmer's market, which is hard when it's my faith trying to collect money. Here I'm the for-profit collecting money, and now I'm the nonprofit collecting money. So I have to be careful that they don't think I'm nickel and diming them, which I've heard over and over as a landlord. But yeah, they do pay a fee because the farmer's market is a ton of work. So they do have increased traffic because they have a vendor fee as well.
Awesome. And do you both find that administering fees is one of the most effective ways to make sure your members are following procedure and SOPs that you have outlined?
No, it's
I don't care.
I mean it helps, but some of that they just don't. It doesn't seem to make a huge difference. So I've had membership meetings, and if they don't show up to that, I'll charge a fee because we cover a lot of information and they're only 3 times a year. And they'd rather be charged the fee than show up to my meeting and be talk for an hour. Or I'll charge their missing documents in the food corridor if their insurance is expired. Give them a month to upload it. And after that, I charge them $35. And there's been some I've been charging way more where I should just say, hey, your membership's going to be terminated. Don't have liability insurance, but it depends. It depends if what their revenue stream is, if they care.
Yeah, I would kind of echo Reagan. Charging those cleaning fees is almost like a last resort. I think a lot of our members are more embarrassed that I have to come and talk to them about it. And then they'll happily pay it. But cleaning fees don't happen a ton in our kitchen. If someone, as Reagan said, like doesn't upload their liability insurance, their ServSafe expires, they get locked out of booking kitchen time immediately in the kitchen. So they have to have those 2 book time.
Yep. That makes sense. Okay. Can you both speak to marketing for on-site retail? Is this something that is done by each business separately, or is it shared in a way? Good question.
So marketing with, I guess, with our vendors and with like the Jungle Gym setup and retail, Finley Market itself has a communications team that kind of runs all over social media, and we will do different spotlights and highlight vendors when big events are happening. We actually have an internal promotions forum that goes out every month. So if any business wants to promote something, they can fill out this form. It'll get on our newsletter. It could make it to social media, could do all those things. Definitely something we wouldn't be capable of doing if we didn't have the Finley Market staff as well. So like that's most of our marketing. Outside of that, members do a ton themselves, and we teach some classes and have local partners that will come in and teach classes on marketing, branding for our businesses.
Right. And how about you, Reagan?
Both. It takes a village. So we market and then we rely on them to market as well. So we're always promoting them on social, asking them to tag us. It's the best thing Meta's come up with recently on Facebook and Instagram for collaboration posts. So anytime they're doing a post, I ask them to hit the collaboration button with us. So it looks like we organically posted it as well. And then we do radio and print ads and posters and a lot of rural type advertising, word of mouth. But yeah, it takes everybody to be able to say, hey, you liked my cookies, you can go buy them here. So
Great. Okay. With one-off kitchen rentals, have you found you've needed to take a deposit more often? Another org I've discussed one-off rentals mentioned that they found one-off renters were less invested and caused more problems. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think when we first started that program, we had a couple nightmare scenarios, which made us basically rewrite our entire policy for it. It hasn't really happened since we rewrote our policy and started requiring the same documents, the Serve Safe Manager certificate, the insurance liability form, timing, pre-walkthrough with expectations. There's a whole group of things you have to go through before you can do it. Since then, I think we've been a little bit more choosy, um, but haven't really had any issues. The first few were rough.
Mm.
we don't get a lot of one-off renters. They'll, I mean, with our cottage lawn being so vast, they just do it at home or they're here for an event. We have a lot of large scale events in our community, and they'll just break the rules and prep in their Airbnb or wherever they're at. We don't get too many one-off. The ones I've had to be more careful about are food trucks that come in, and I in the past just, all right, you're a food truck, yes, let's go through the steps and get you licensed. But the food truck community has can get pretty ugly and competitive, more so than restaurant owners. It's very eye opening to me. I had to make sure they were all playing because then their drama at the event or festival would then come into my kitchen. I have to vet my food truck and make sure that the harmony we have doesn't get disrupted by one that's gonna undercut another and do things. That's been a learning lesson for sure with food truck.
Yeah. Got to balance out that cultural aspect of the kitchen and making sure that everyone is operating professionally in a shared space.
Yeah. And we have the coffee shop. I mean, they have brought in all their own equipment. So they have their espresso machines and they have a ton of inventory. So I don't want somebody in there at 10 o'clock that I don't know that could possibly jeopardize her crew from opening at 5 a.m. So
Yeah. Um, do either of you have your policies listed on your webpage, on your website?
I think I have uploaded it, but I can.
We don't for our external events. We do have like an interest form uh, that will trigger basically who you talk to. We had started a new events planning thing, just market wide, and the kitchen is just one of those. So some of those parameters can change based on where you want to host or what you want to host. So they're not on the website.
Okay. Let's see. We might have time for both of these last questions here. What would make you turn someone away from renting your kitchen?
Who doesn't follow the rule? No, they're gonna cook everything at home, but then they'll come in and say that they made it in my kitchen. That's probably my biggest pet peeve. That they did not use my space, and but they're advertising that they did, and I think false advertising.
Yeah.
That's a good one. We actually just had a meeting about this a couple of days ago. A list of like orange flag or red flag definitions. We have pretty strict requirements that people have to go through before they get into the kitchen at this point. We kind of changed our intake method to where we start with an intake phone call, and then the list of requirements needs to be completed before you even get to step in to tour the kitchen. And this has really kind of helped. If you're not willing to do the homework, you don't even get to the space where you get to walk in to tour the kitchen. Prior to that, I think there was a lot of perception. We would walk around the kitchen and see how they interacted with this space. I've had people walk in and just walk up to complete strangers prepping and like walk up to their cutting board. And it's just like, okay, this is not going to work. You don't know how to work in a group. I think for me personally, it is that cultural aspect. Can you be respectful in a group environment? If you can't, then you're not going to be here. We preach culture a lot in our kitchen and how to interact with each other and work together. And you either kind of fit in that or you don't, or you're willing to do the work or you're not.
Mhm.
It's a hard question to answer, but maybe one day we'll figure it out.
Okay, great. I think we have time for one more question. And also, real quick, I'm going to launch a very short poll about this webinar just to get some feedback, make sure we're still giving you all the content that you want to hear. And I want to plug our consulting circle that we just launched. I'll email the link out in the recap email, but somebody asked about offering operations consulting for forecasting and facility design. We just launched this like a month ago. So I will send out that information for a consulting circle. We're matching you one on one with consultants for paid engagement. I'll send all those details. But okay, last question here. Do you offer discounts for slower hours like evening and overnight hours?
We do not.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna ask another question. So we end on something a little better. Okay. So all of these additional revenue streams are great. If you had to pick one additional revenue stream that is your biggest ROI for the operators on the call today, if they're like, this is a lot of planning to implement this stuff, what is one additional revenue stream that you would recommend kitchens look into to maximize their bottom line?
I definitely say the mobile kitchen rentals. I think it's got the best ROI for both the members and for us, and has the biggest impact.
You know what? During all this thing, the biggest thing that I've been, trying to preach all this time is small batch co-pack and repacking of spices and stuff and things like that. It is such a big revenue generator. I can't even tell you. We did more than $75,000 this year already.
Whoa, that's crazy, sir. That's
We'll be talking about it over at the summit.
There
Like
needs
the
to
summer.
be suggestion for the food corner is like a step by step for co-packaging. Because if you're in a county where that doesn't exist, it's like the blind leading the blind on
Definitely.
how to test and lab and it's been a mess. And it's extensive mess, like when it comes to lab testing. I would say for us the biggest and for getting new renters is the farmers market, the vendors, because they're already there at 5 a.m. study. They're making the right steps to becoming a larger business. So for us, it's been building those relationships with vendors, and that then will start going into co-packing or using the commercial kitchen. So for us, it's been making those relationships to where they see the value of leaving their house.
Yeah. We also have a panel all about these cottage food freedom acts and what's happening in policy right now at the summit. So great plug, you guys. Okay, thank you both for being here and for sharing so openly about your operations, and for everybody on the call for sticking with us through the end. We really appreciate it. And these monthly webinars have been such a great way to connect with you all and learn from you. So thank you. I will send the registration link for next month's webinar with the recording and Scott's presentation in my recap email. But thank you all so much. Scott, stay safe. Go take cover.
Yeah, it's usually out of the window here, so I'm not there.
Thanks, you everybody. Have a great day.
You.